Essentially, what we do here is we try and bring a brick and mortar mom and pop element to customers in an internet world. We're here to guide the customer through the experience, help them make their selection, perhaps select the guitar among many of a particular model that they're looking at. The right guitar for one guy isn't necessarily the right guitar for the other guy, and that's what Scott and I do. We really try and make every effort to make the guitar that arrives at the customer's doorstep the guitar that they dreamed it would be.
It's important to have somebody that knows what they're talking about, somebody you can trust, to be able to walk you through that purchase, play multiple guitars if need be, and to find that one for you.
I started playing, a longer time ago than I like to think it was. Ended up working for Sadowski Guitars, Roger Sadowski in New York, and that was a tremendous educational experience. It was a high-end boutique that catered to recording musicians, touring support players, the occasional star. It was also about 50% a repair shop. I saw everything you could imagine in that shop. Just, 50s Les Pauls, I got to play them. I got to see what was so special about them.
I always like the details of guitars, finding out what woods they're made out of, what were the pickups, what's the neck shape, how does swamp ash compare to alder, does flame maple really make a difference on a top on a Les Paul?
Then I went to Gibson and worked at the custom shop in Nashville for a number of years, and that was a whole different kind of experience because I get to see all the best stuff from all the manufacturers. I look at them with different eyes. All of these manufacturers, Fender, Gibson, Gretsch, Martin, Rickenbacker, Taylor, Paul Reed Smith, they are manufacturing facilities. You really need to understand the differences between the manufacturers and their styles of production to understand why this guitar's finish looks like this and this guitar's finish looks like that. When we have custom runs, our own special edition guitars or exclusive guitars that we've done, there's different processes for different vendors. Someone who's been a mentor to us is a gentleman named Dave Carpenter. He's responsible for some really cool runs. He's just a guy who's found really exceptional guitars and wanted Gibson to, take certain features of those guitars and produce them. The 55 series was based on one of his actual guitars. A run we've done with Paul Reed Smith, the DC-22, is it something we drew up on based on a lot of our own customers' feedback. And in that case, our buyers went out to PRS and they handpicked the wood, and we had real strict guidelines on the weights of the backs, the density of the necks, the type of tops we wanted to see. And the result was just a remarkably consistent run of guitars. Fender, those are typically drawn up. We kind of spec out, again, based on our own experience and based on customer feedback on what they like. We get the guitars in to the facility, and the first step, once they've been received in, is they come to our tech. And he is going to inspect every single guitar we receive. Basically, it's an added level of QC.
We're going to check the action, we're going to check the neck, check for any buzzing, dead spots. We set the pickup height, and we're going to go through and check those electronics.
We will not just take something and pass it off to the customer. We're going to inspect it, make sure it's right. And when you get to this price point, you know, you really want to be sure that what the customer is receiving is absolutely perfect guitar, set up to factory spec. Or in the case of you know, any customer's desires, we're going to set it up to their specs. We want to develop a relationship with these guys. It's amazing to me how many guys out there really just have a fire burning inside them, just like I have, you know, for rock and roll, for jazz, for country, whatever, for this particular band. But it's their whole life. It's like the biggest fire inside their belly. And this is all feeding on it. It's just a dream that when you're a kid, that poster that's on your wall of your favorite band, and you stared at it and he was playing that guitar and you always wanted it. Guys are now at that point where they're like, you know, screw it. I want it. I deserve it.